Welcome to the Minnesota Twins franchise, everybody, here on MLB The Show 17. It's episode 8, and we have a few different things to get around to in this episode as we begin the month of June. We, of course, just had the MLB draft. That was last episode. If you haven't seen it already, go watch that one. But here are the players that we ended up drafting. At number 1 overall, we selected Maxwell Fowler. Then we came back and selected Gary Tadano. We took 4 pitchers in the draft. 3 position players. I'm pretty happy overall with the draft class, and now knowing some of the other holes I want to fill, I'll begin looking at potential trade options, and we still have plenty of time for that to work out. So here are the numbers so far on the team. Miguel Sano still leading the way when it comes to the hitting department. And 2 episodes ago, we saw the debut of rookie pitcher Fernando Romero, who had 2 solid starts going 6 innings in each. And we'll definitely keep a close eye on him the rest of the way. We sim this first series against the Angels and see Romero's 3rd start did not go as well. I knew we'd get a start like this at some point, as he only lasted 3 innings and allowed 5 runs on 7 hits with no strikeouts. Tyler Duffey came in, played a pretty good game, but our offense couldn't get going, and it was over from the very beginning pretty much. Then we go and get swept by the Mariners, just a 1-7 beginning to the month of June. Felix Hernandez gets the victory in the series finale to secure the sweep, as Taylor Rogers only lasted 5 innings, giving up 4 runs. So from there, we head out to San Francisco for a little interleague series, as we're only sitting at 22-37 at this point. Up against Jeff Samardzija here in the first meeting, as Fernando Romero takes the mound on our side. So in the first inning, with a man on first, here is Joe Mauer trying to take one the other way like he tends to do. Launches it foul, and then Samardzija goes inside and hits him with an 0-2 count, giving us 2 aboard for Miguel Sano, but 2 down as he drives one back up the middle, but not much juice on it, as Mauer is out at second. So let's turn things over to Romero, now a 4.2 ERA, and in 15 innings, 9 strikeouts, a 2-1 record. Again, he's facing a pretty good lineup as Hunter Pence takes this one the other way. But what was interesting about this meeting is that the Giants have a lot of left-handed batters. So I thought it would be another good test for Romero. He hits his spot there on the fastball and then comes back with the circle change to get the strikeout. Next up, Brandon Crawford, a ground ball hit sharply to Dozier, who's trying to go to second. Runner is safe, but they still get the throw in time at first base. Definitely lost track of the outs in that situation, but it doesn't hurt us. So on to the second, 2 down for Eddie Rosario, who really shined a couple episodes ago. Had the big grand slam, and he's been swinging the bat a lot better as of late, and here he notches the double. But here, when you're playing in a National League ballpark, you gotta have your pitcher out there to hit. So Fernando Romero, his first at-bat does not go so well, striking out against Samardzija. Let's go bottom 2 now for San Francisco. Denard Span singled, stole a base, and advanced to third. And here is Jarrett Parker trying to bring him in, as Fernando Romero hitting his spots, gets ahead in the count 0-2, and comes back with the inside slider, a 3-pitch strikeout. Going into the 3rd inning now, and this is ex-Twin Eduardo Nunez going wild here after the circle change for another K. Hunter Pence then with 2 down, grounding it on to Mauer, and Romero finishes 3 solid innings. The offense is not exactly impressing early in this game, as Jason Castro with a sharp ground ball and Eduardo Nunez makes the good defensive play. I was definitely bummed out when the Twins traded him to San Francisco. We got Adalberto Mejia in exchange. I liked his defense a lot, he was a great leadoff hitter, but I do think that we've replaced him adequately. Here's a line drive, scorched to center, but Buxton is right there to make the catch. The Giants just can't get anything going, and with 2 down, a soft tapper here for Castro, who makes the play, and that secures 4 shutout innings for Romero. On to the 5th, here's Eddie Rosario taking one to deep right, trying to put the Twins on the board, but this will not get out. It will bring Eddie Rosario to third base, however, as this did not miss by much. I did think it was gone off the bat. And here's another look at it. The 25-year-old is having a pretty good stretch at the plate in a very important season for him. So a leadoff triple. Gotta find a way to bring him home. Romero trying to bunt. As Rosario leaves late, Samardzija going back to third base, and everybody ends up safe. So runners at the corners. Here's Buxton. High fastball gets him 96 miles per hour. Can't catch up. Then you have Max Kepler. Swinging through a slider, falling behind 0-2. And Samardzija gets him with a low splitter. Back-to-back Ks now. Brian Dozier. With a 2-1 pitch, he drives it onto center. But ex-Twin Denard Span is out there to make the catch, and the Twins cannot capitalize off the leadoff triple. On to the fifth. Good fastball there from Romero. Tries to go to the outside corner this time, and Span takes it the other way into the left center gap. And he has the speed to leg out a leadoff double for the Giants. So can they capitalize off their leadoff extra base hit? After advancing Span to third, Jarrett Parker pulls it to Dozier, and that allows Span to come around and score the first run of the day. With 2 down, trying to close things out, Romero gets the inside strike and then comes back with a circle change as each pitcher struck out the other pitcher. Into the 6th for Minnesota, still no runs across as Mauer just sends one on to short, a routine ground ball. Not giving the young pitcher any help this time around. Miguel Sano behind the fastball, falls behind, and now in front of the slider as Samardzija gets another strikeout. For Romero, his pitch count was in great shape, so I thought he had a chance to go beyond the 6th, but he still had to complete the 6th inning. And the Giants came through, 2 singles to begin the inning, and the runners able to advance from first to third. Romero now finding himself in some trouble, and that's been the trend, I guess. The 5th and 6th innings have been tough for him. Then a base hit up the middle brings home another Giant run. 3 straight hits, and Buster Posey makes it 4. On to right for Kepler, rolling slow enough to allow another run to come home. Romero has gotten some key double plays already in his few starts, looking for another here. Relay throw not in time as the Giants score their 4th. Trying to just finish off the inning, and this is where the control goes out the window. 69 pitches, this one outside the zone, and that was it for Romero. Just 5 2/3, giving up 4 runs in this game. So a 4-0 lead as Tonkin comes in to get the strikeout to finally put this to an end. Romero taken out of the game after a good start. Could they do the same to Samardzija? Here is Danny Santana with a fly ball lifted to left that gets down. And Eddie Rosario grounding it on to second. Nothing exciting this time as Rosario grounds into a double play. Twins running out of time as we go on to the 8th. After a walk and a base hit, Joe Mauer comes through with a line drive just over the shortstop and into the gap. 1 run scores, and they're going to try to make it 2. Here comes Dozier. Throw to the dish. Not in time. A 2-run double for Joe Mauer, and Samardzija exits. Here's Hunter Strickland against Miguel Sano. Getting him on the slider again. Sano strikes out for the 2nd time. Let's go to the 9th. Twins down to 2 outs as Escobar again flying here to center. He can't get it done. 1 more out as they go back to the top of the order. Byron Buxton with the Twins down 2. Takes a hanging breaking ball to deep left. And Buxton makes this a 1-run game as things get a little interesting. Byron Buxton flashing some power this year, this being his 7th home run, going .391. We just needed 1 more of those as Kepler tries to gulp the cutter, he misses. And they keep going back to that cutter down and in. 3 times in a row. Another 2-2, and this time Kepler swings at 1 in the dirt. And the Giants secure the victory. The bats were definitely disappointing in this game for us, and I look back at that missed opportunity on their Eddie Rosario leadoff triple. Romero didn't have a great start, I don't think it was bad, but for some reason that 5th inning, the trouble begins, even though his pitch count was much better this time around. So the Twins off to a horrible start in June, just 1-8. As we go to Game 2 now against San Francisco, they have a late lead, trying to hang on with a man in scoring position as Span grounds this softly. Castro with the play as the tying run advances to third. Brandon Kinsler trying to get the victory as a check swing pop-up goes to Kinsler, and they do get the win to at least end this streak. Now, what was relevant about this game was that Ervin Santana had one of his best starts in a long time and improved his record to 4-6. I'm hoping he increases his trade value a little bit, so by the deadline we can move him and his salary for some prospects. We then went to take this series from the Giants as Max Kepler homers, and we beat the Giants 4-1 in extra innings. Hector Santiago gets the win, and we continue to see his ERA come down slowly but surely. Following this series, I did want to go take a look at some outfielders. I've been thinking now since the draft, I wanted to find an outfielder with speed. That's something that we don't really have in our system. The Twins used to have a lot of speed. Now they're definitely lacking. So in through a lot of teams, outfielders are just trying to find a prospect that we can work with. And one caught my eye here, Torii Hunter Jr. Of course, his dad, a great player with the Minnesota Twins organization. So I decided we could make a prospect swap here, just a couple players who aren't very highly rated, but it would give us the type of player that I'm looking for. Torii Hunter Jr. already has 80 speed. He does need to work on his hitting, but this was a prospect swap that made sense for both sides. They were pretty even. Hunter, though, a few years younger at 21 years old. We gave up TJ White in this trade, who is a third baseman who needs some hitting work, but has a pretty good arm at third base, and has some speed to go with him as well. Not as much as Torii, so he'll spend some time now in our minor league system, and I think we'll make some more trades here as the trade deadline approaches. Let's move on now to a series against the Mariners. They had just swept us in Seattle the previous week, so now in Minneapolis, Miguel Sano leads off the ninth and takes a pitch left up back to center with a leadoff single. Unable to do anything with our next batters, however, then Joe Mauer swings and misses at the curveball, and then takes one up the first base line as he gets tagged, and we head on to extra innings here at Target Field. On the mound is Tyler Duffy. With a 3-1 pitch, a fly ball hit to center. Grossman comes in and overruns the play. It gets behind him, and that's going to allow the batter to go all the way to third base. Buxton getting the off day in this one as the defensive miscue gives the Mariners a chance to take the lead. And here's a fly ball hit again to center, this time Grossman in position as they'll test his arm going home. And the runner is ahead of the throw, not by much, but the Mariners take the lead. They turn things over to their closer, Edwin Diaz. 20 saves on the season. Here's Eduardo Escobar working the count full and fouling off the slider before getting jammed behind third base. And there's the first out of the inning. With 2 down, it's up to Chris Jimenez, batting .309 this year. With a 1-1 count, he fouls off a slider right on the corner, and then takes a changeup to even things at 2, but then swings and misses at the slider as the Mariners take this game from us as well. The month of June not very kind to us. We lose 3 of 4 to Seattle, and then get swept by Cleveland. And look at our runs scored. We only scored 5 runs twice to this point. Now the offense can't get going. At least our AA team is doing well. The Chattanooga Lookouts finished in second place in their division through the first half of their season, and that took us to the Southern League All-Star Game. We had a few different players in this, including Daniel Palka, Matt Haig, but I wanted to focus on Palka in here. He's a player whose ratings have always caught my attention. He's a power-hitting outfielder, and he's been very productive this year with 18 home runs, 43 RBIs. So let's spend some time here with our AA slugger here in Cincinnati as he takes a 3-0 pitch up the middle. Of course, we're going green light. This is the All-Star Game. It's a chance to showcase your skills. This drove in the runner from second and scored the first run of the game. Just a single back up the middle there as Palka reaches. Let's see him now in the outfield. He plays right field in this game. He can play all 3 outfield spots plus first base, as that is sent over his head for a home run, and the Southern All-Stars take the lead. So Palka back up later in his third trip, 2 on here in the 5th inning, as he pulls one to second. That allows a run to score, but he is retired. Still, though, 2 ribbies for Daniel Palka. That ties the game. Another thing that intrigues me about Palka is that he's a left-handed hitter, and we could just use more of those, especially at the major league level. So let's head on to the 6th inning, a 5-2 lead. And now against a left-handed pitcher, with 2 down, Palka takes one to deep right, and gone for his 2nd hit of the game, and his 3rd appearance that drives in a run. A 2-run shot, 448 feet. This was an awesome performance for Daniel Palka. I wanted to see what his game was all about, and you can't figure that out in just one all-star exhibition game. But seeing that kind of power against the lefty was exciting. He didn't really get tested very much in the field as far as like showing off his arm or range, but made all the plays that went near him. He ended up getting pulled after that inning, but I'd say he made the most of his time here in the Southern League All-Star Game as the South wins 10-9. Now, there's already a player at the Major League level that is very similar to Palka, and that's Robbie Grossman, who has some power as well. He can play all the outfield spots. He's a utility player, but I think that Palka offers a bit more upside and is also a couple years younger, plus he has more power. So Palka may eventually become perhaps a DH for us, or maybe finds his way into the outfield. But he's one of the most intriguing players, I think, at AA, and I believe our next roster move will be to call him up to AAA and see how he does, and then send Torrey Hunter Jr. down to AA because he took up the roster spot from the player we had traded away. We're going to take a look at some numbers now, as Ervin Santana is on the hot streak now, it looks like, and that's exactly what I want to see, as the trade deadline is now about a month and a half away. And if we can move Santana this year, it opens up what we can do this offseason as far as getting a free agent or two, because that's a big salary off the books. At the AAA level, we got to see that Kenny Vargas is actually hitting pretty well. 40 RBIs and 8 home runs. Might be due for a call back up to the majors. And in a few games so far, Torrey Hunter Jr. is hitting 286. 6 hits so far, not bad. But I think he's still going to be best to play at AA for the remainder of this season. We're seeing that Jose Barrios is turning his year around, and maybe at some point he gets called back up to the majors. Alberto Mejia is struggling now even at AAA, so maybe going down to AA is required for him. You can see the numbers here for Daniel Palka, way more homers than anybody at Chattanooga, along with way more RBIs. I kind of don't want to call him up because that team is playing so well, but I got to see him against some better competition. We have a lot of great pitchers down there at the AAA or the AA level as well, so I might get a look at some of those players with the Rochester Red Wings. There isn't a single pitcher down there whose ERA is above 4. It's ridiculous. So maybe we have some good potential in our system. I do like a lot of these players, so looking ahead to the years to come in this series are definitely exciting. We have players like Nick Birdie, who only has C potential right now, but he's 24, throws very hard, gets a lot of strikeouts. He could be exactly what our bullpen is looking for if he can maybe get a little bit higher rated. So that's going to take us to the end of this episode, as we will continue June next time, and I'm guessing that next episode may take us to the All-Star Game, and we'll see if we have anybody to play with in that. Thank you all for watching this episode of the Minnesota Twins franchise. Leave your feedback down below on today's episode and leave a like if you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all next time. Have a great day.